Picture this, you're sitting in a cafe, sipping a warm drink, watching the world go by. The hum of conversations, the clinking of cups, the aroma of coffee, it all seems so real, so obvious, doesn't it? But what if I told you that what you experience as reality might actually be a remarkable creation of your own brain? What you see, hear, feel, even smell, isn't merely a response to the world, but an elaborate interpretation your brain builds for you. It sounds wild, right? But here's the key idea. Our brains don't detect reality like a camera or a recorder would. Instead, they take in an overwhelming amount of signals and create their own version of how things should be. Every second, your brain processes millions of inputs, light, sound, temperature, even the expressions of people around you, and it crafts an image so convincing that we accept it as the world as it is. For me, understanding this changed everything. I remember a moment when my daughter, Elena, told me how a shadow in her room at night looked like a monster. To her, it was as real as anything. But as soon as we turned on the light, her reality completely shifted. And we're no different. If you've ever assumed someone was in a bad mood just because they didn't reply to your good morning, maybe your brain interpreted that silence and created a reality that wasn't actually there. Today, we're going to dig deep into exactly that. How much of our lives is pure perception? How much of what we feel, believe, and see is influenced by the invisible connections our brains make by our thoughts, our memories, and our subconscious? In the end, are we living in objective truth, or is this a custom-made reality crafted by our brains to guide us in a way that's unique to each of us? My name is Dante, and welcome to another episode of Inner Guided. The mind's illusion, how thoughts shape our reality beyond the physical. Imagine for a moment that every thought you have, every fleeting emotion, has the power to color the world around you. This isn't just about interpreting events differently. It's about shaping an entire experience. Our minds are like artists with invisible brushes, painting reality based on emotions, fears, desires, and beliefs. And here's the twist. Sometimes we don't even realize we're holding the brush. Think about a day when you woke up feeling anxious or uncertain. Suddenly, the smallest things seem a bit off. A coworker's neutral comment feels like criticism, an email comes across as curt, and the day just seems heavy. That's not just coincidence. It's your mind taking over, creating a reality filled with subtle, invisible cues of discomfort and tension. The mind's illusion here is that it presents this as an external reality, not as something you've colored with your own state of being. We feel like we're seeing the truth, when really, we're experiencing a version of reality molded by our own thoughts. In spiritual traditions around the world, this concept is central. The ancient yogis of India talk about Maya, an illusion or veil that separates us from seeing the truth. This veil, they say, is lifted by understanding and controlling the mind. Buddhist teachings also emphasize that our minds create suffering by holding on to thoughts, by interpreting and reinterpreting everything around us. Our thoughts, in essence, act like mirrors that reflect back only what we project. And if we are unaware of these projections, we fall into a loop of living in a world we never questioned, a reality shaped, distorted, and often limited by our own mental states. This isn't just an abstract concept, it's real, and we experience it daily. Let me give you a personal example. There was a time I felt insecure about a major project I was working on, and every tiny feedback felt like a judgment. Conversations that would have been neutral on any other day felt critical, like attacks on my capability. But when I took a step back, I noticed something incredible. These were not judgments from others. They were echoes of my own insecurities projected outward. I wasn't seeing reality as it was. I was seeing my own fears. Here's what we can take from this. Our minds are powerful creators, but they also act as deceivers. And unless we learn to observe and question these thoughts, they'll continue to create our personal reality, often leading us away from inner peace. So, if our minds can shape reality in this way, then we have a choice. We can either continue living in this illusion, allowing our thoughts to dictate how we perceive the world, or we can awaken to a higher level of awareness. Learning to quiet the mind, to recognize when we're creating stories around things, can be transformative. It allows us to peel back the layers of illusion and connect with a reality that isn't colored by worry, fear, or expectation. When we realize that we're the creators of our own inner landscapes, we can start to reshape that world consciously. So here's the question. Are you willing to look past the illusions your mind creates and see a reality that goes beyond thoughts, beyond interpretations? The power of belief, how our inner truths manifest in the world around us. Beliefs are like seeds we plant within ourselves. Some grow quietly, unnoticed, while others take root so deeply that they shape our lives, molding how we interpret every single experience. And the truly profound part is that many of these beliefs operate beneath the surface, guiding us like hidden currents we don't realize are even there. Our beliefs about ourselves, about life, even about what's possible or impossible, ultimately create the world we experience. Consider this. Have you ever believed something so strongly that it influenced the outcome? Maybe you believed you weren't good enough for a job, and sure enough, self-doubt led to hesitation or mistakes that kept you from succeeding. Or perhaps you believed in a positive outcome so deeply that it seemed to magically come to fruition. This isn't about mysticism. It's the power of belief creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. What we hold as true within us tends to appear in our outer world. And for each of us, this inner truth is unique, sculpting a reality that aligns with what we believe. Many spiritual practices point to the idea that our inner beliefs have the power to influence our surroundings. In the teachings of the law of attraction, for instance, it said that our thoughts and beliefs vibrate on a frequency that attracts similar energies. While some people may view this as simply positive thinking, the deeper message is that belief and reality are interconnected. By shifting beliefs from scarcity to abundance, from self-doubt to confidence, you start to see the world with new eyes. Opportunities appear, relationships improve, and life takes on a whole different energy. I've seen this in my own life, especially when I first decided to start a creative project. Initially, I didn't believe I could do it. I thought there were so many people out there with more talent, more experience. And you know what happened? I hesitated, missed chances, and didn't take my ideas seriously. But once I decided to truly believe in my ability to see myself as capable, I noticed a change. Conversations opened doors. I met people who encouraged me, and even Julie, my wife, started to notice a different energy in how I talked about my ideas. It was as if the world outside shifted to reflect the shift that happened within me. But here's where it gets even more powerful. Our beliefs don't just shape our experiences, they shape who we become. When we believe in limitation, we act in ways that keep us small. When we believe in potential, we grow. Imagine the ripple effect this can have. By changing just one core belief, we're not just adjusting our perspective, we're changing the very reality we walk through. Each belief is like a lens we wear, coloring every interaction, every goal, every dream. The key, though, is awareness. Often, these beliefs form in childhood or from past experiences, and we carry them like unexamined baggage. If we don't take a step back and question them, we live out someone else's reality, not our own. So ask yourself, what do I believe about myself? About what's possible? And are these beliefs truly mine? By aligning our beliefs with our deepest values and highest aspirations, we open doors to a reality that's richer, more authentic, and more in harmony with who we really are. So, what would it look like if you shifted just one belief? If you chose to believe that the world is, at its core, a place of opportunity and growth. This small shift could create a profound difference in how your reality unfolds. Awakening to true reality, seeing beyond the brain's creations. Imagine for a moment that there's a deeper reality lying just beneath the surface of what we perceive day to day, a truer, more connected world that we can tap into if we learn to see beyond the mental filters our brains construct. Awakening to this reality means questioning everything we think we know, stepping outside the stories we tell ourselves, and being open to a reality that's not shaped by fear, past hurts, or mental conditioning. It's about shedding illusions and learning to see with clarity, with presence, and with a deep sense of inner peace. Every spiritual tradition has a concept of this awakening or enlightenment, the idea that our ordinary perception is like living in a dream, and that awakening is stepping into a higher truth. This truth isn't found through thinking more or analyzing. In fact, it's found by stilling the mind, letting go of preconceptions, and experiencing life as it is, without labels or judgments. This is why so many spiritual practices emphasize meditation, mindfulness, and inner silence. When we quiet our minds, we start to glimpse this pure awareness, the part of us that exists beyond thought, beyond the stories of the self. For me, one of the most transformative experiences came during a moment of stillness while on a nature walk. There was no great epiphany or flashy insight, just this feeling of pure connection, where I wasn't analyzing, judging, or thinking, I was simply there. In that space, everything felt vibrant and interconnected, as if I was finally experiencing life as it really was, without the interference of mental chatter. I felt a profound peace, and for a brief moment, I could sense how much of what I usually perceive as reality was just my mind's interpretation. It was like waking up from a dream and realizing there's so much more to experience. The brain, as science shows us, has filters, biases, and shortcuts that it uses to interpret the overwhelming amount of information we encounter. While this is essential for daily survival, it also means that we only see a limited version of reality, one that's heavily shaped by our personal history, beliefs, and emotional states. The result is that each of us lives in a unique, subjective world. But what if we could step outside these filters, even for a few moments? What if we could see beyond the brain's creations and experience the raw, unfiltered truth of existence? This is where the journey of awakening becomes life-changing. By recognizing that our thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions are not the ultimate reality, we open ourselves to a more profound understanding. We begin to see our interconnectedness, our shared humanity, and the beauty in each moment. This doesn't mean that life suddenly becomes free of challenges or pain, but it does mean we can face life with a deeper sense of peace and acceptance, knowing that much of what disturbs us comes from within. Awakening to true reality isn't about escaping the world or rejecting our experiences. It's about seeing them for what they are. It's about realizing that the mind creates interpretations, but we are not bound by them. We have the power to step back, observe, and choose how we engage with our thoughts and emotions. And with this awareness, we gain the freedom to live more fully, more authentically, and with a deeper sense of purpose. So here's the invitation. Start to question the stories your mind tells you. Notice when you're caught up in thoughts of fear, judgment, or limitation. Take a breath and remind yourself that these are just stories, not the ultimate truth. By doing this, you're not just changing your mindset, you're stepping closer to a life of clarity, peace, and spiritual freedom. Are you ready to start seeing beyond the brain's creations and awaken to a reality that's vast, interconnected, and deeply fulfilling? This journey awaits anyone willing to take the first step. So we've explored the fascinating idea that the reality we experience may be less about the world outside and more about what's happening inside us. Think about the possibilities this brings, realizing that we're not simply passive observers in life but active creators. Our thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions build a world that either limits us or frees us, depending on how much we understand and control them. Imagine the impact of taking even one moment each day to quiet the mind, to question the assumptions and stories it presents, and to see life more clearly, more honestly. By choosing awareness, by stepping beyond the brain's default settings, we open up new doors to experience life with greater depth, connection, and joy. Awakening to true reality means recognizing that we're not separate from it. Instead, we're woven into it, each moment holding a new possibility, a new way of seeing. And if we're willing to shift our inner world, the world outside responds, relationships deepen, anxieties lessen, and we find a wellspring of peace and purpose we might never have known existed. As we come to the end of this episode, I encourage you to keep exploring. Take this curiosity further, keep asking, is what I believe about life, about myself, truly real? The journey to understanding doesn't end here. It's only just beginning. And if you're ready for the next step, I highly recommend checking out our next video. This is what happens when you open your third eye. It's a deep dive into one of the most powerful ways to perceive life beyond the ordinary, and you won't want to miss it. Remember, each insight, each discovery, brings you closer to living a life that's fully aligned with who you really are. See you in the next episode.